Nearly 107 million Americans do not have a job right now, Michael Snyder reports. A lot of people are really confused about the state of the U.S. economy right now. Large employers are conducting mass layoffs all over the country, and those that are searching for work are having a very difficult time. But meanwhile, the Biden administration and the mainstream media continue to insist that the unemployment rate is low and everything is just fine. So what can account for such incongruity? Hopefully by the time you're done reading this, you'll have a much clearer view of what is really going on out there. On Friday, the BLS released the employment numbers for the month of February. Zero Hedge called it the most ridiculous jobs report in history. Last month, we thought that the January jobs report was the most ridiculous in recent history, but boy, were we wrong, because this morning the Biden's Department of Gold-Seeked Propaganda, aka BLS, published the February jobs report, and holy crap, was that something else. Even Goebbels would blush. We were told that the U.S. economy added 275,000 jobs last month, but if you dig deeper into the report, you will find that the number of native-born workers actually fell by 560,000 last month, and over the past 3 months, the number of native-born workers has fallen by a whopping 2.4 million. But wait, there's even more, because now that the primary season is over and we enter the heart of election season and political talking points will be thrown around left and right, especially in the context of the immigration crisis created intentionally by the Biden administration, which is hoping to import millions of new Democrat voters. Maybe the U.S. can hold the presidential election in Honduras or Guatemala. After all, it is their citizens that will be legally casting the key votes in November. What we find is that in February, the number of native-born workers tumbled again, sliding by a massive 560,000 to just 129,807 million. Adding to this the December data, and we get a near-record 2.4 million plunge in native-born workers in just the past 3 months. Only the COVID crash was worse. So where is the job growth coming from? If you can believe it, the BLS is claiming that 1.2 million foreign-born workers were added during the month of February alone. The offset? A record 1.2 million foreign-born, read immigrants, both legal and illegal, but mostly legal, workers added in February. We're actually supposed to believe such nonsense? I find it hard to believe that more than 1 million foreign-born workers were added to the system in a single month when layoffs are at such extremely high levels. According to Challenger Gray and Christmas, we just witnessed the highest number of layoffs during the month of February since the Great Recession. Layoffs announcements in February hit their highest level for the month since the global financial crisis, according to outplacement firm Challenger Gray and Christmas. The total of 84,638 planned cuts showed an increase of 3% from January and 9% from the same month a year ago, with technology and finance companies at the forefront. From a historical perspective, this was the worst February since 2009, which saw 186,350 announcements as the worst of the financial crisis was seemingly coming to an end. We really do have an employment crisis in this country, but those in positions of power are trying to convince us that what we can see with our own 2 eyes is not actually real. In other words, they're gaslighting us really hard. One of the ways they do this is by how they classify those that are not working. When an adult is not working, they are classified as either unemployed or not in the labor force. In February, 6,458,000 Americans were considered to be fully unemployed. If that number was accurate, that would be good news. But another 100,285,000 Americans were considered to be not in the labor force in February. When you add those two numbers together, you get a grand total of 106,743,000 Americans that are not working. In other words, nearly 107 million Americans do not have a job right now. Let me try to put that number into perspective. During the Great Recession, the number never even reached 90 million. So right now, the number of Americans not working is far higher than it was at any point during the worst economic downturn since the Great Depression of the 1930s. Meanwhile, conditions continue to get even rougher for those that are actually working. The cost of living has been rising much faster than our paychecks have, and that is putting enormous stress on households from coast to coast. Recently, I was stunned to learn that a 160 square foot home in Las Vegas is renting for $950 a month. A tiny home in Las Vegas is creating a big stir. Nestled between two apartment blocks, the 160 square foot tiny home, listed for $950 a month, has received more than 113 inquiries from eager renters. That is absurd. But this is what years of reckless money printing have done to us. Housing has become more unaffordable than ever before, and this is not just happening in our heavily populated metropolitan areas. If you can believe it, an average home in Bozeman, Montana, now sells for more than $1 million. Bozeman, Montana, a small city of about 56,000 people, has seen home prices soar on the back of increased migration into the area, catapulting demands for properties. A single-family home in the area rose by nearly 40% to more than 1.16 million as of February, according to the Bozeman Real Estate Group. At the same time, paychecks are stagnating or even falling in some cases. In fact, it's being reported that 48% of 2,000 U.S. companies surveyed lowered pay for certain roles in 2023. But some are finding an unwelcome surprise as they scan listings for open roles. A salary bump is all but impossible. In many cases, wages seem lower than their previous pay, even for the same jobs. They are not imagining things. In a 2023 report on pay trends from ZipRecruiter showed 48% of 2,000 U.S. companies surveyed lowered pay for certain roles. The middle class is being systematically ripped to shreds. With each passing day, more Americans are joining the ranks of the poor, and homelessness and hunger are absolutely exploding all over the nation. What we're experiencing is a direct result of years of very foolish policies. Unfortunately, much worse is on the horizon. The remainder of 2024 will be excruciating, and 2025 will be even more painful. This is by Michael Snyder on the Economic Collapse blog. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. About the author, Michael Snyder's extremely controversial new book entitled Chaos is available in paperback and for Kindle on Amazon.com. He's also written 7 other books that are available on Amazon, including End Time, 7-Year Apocalypse, Lost Prophecies of the Future of America, The Beginning of the End, and Living a Life That Really Matters, commissions earned. When you purchase any of Michael's books, you help to support the work that he's doing. You can also get his articles by email as soon as he publishes them by subscribing to his Substack newsletter. Michael has published thousands of articles on the Economic Collapse blog, End of the American Dream, and The Most Important News, and he always freely and happily allows others to republish those articles on the other websites. You can connect with Michael on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, and share his articles on your own social media account is definitely a great help. These are just troubled times and people need hope. John 3:16 tells us about the hope that God has given us through Jesus Christ. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. If you have not already done so, we strongly urge you to invite Jesus Christ to be your Lord and Savior today. Please kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.